ladies and gentlemen, and a Happy New Year to you all. Yes, we're a bit partied out, aren't we? Hey, good to see you all, folks, for the last night here at the Woodford Comedy Club. Now, this is our lovely sign interpreter, Jasmine. Right now, I don't know if she's given herself a rap or not.
Having an interpreter in a festival, especially a festival like Woodford, is a really positive thing because it gives deaf awareness. It's publicity for using professional interpreters. It's about access. It's about telling the community that deaf people enjoy festivals.
What are you doing? If you could get up tomorrow morning, go to work, do any job in the world, what do you reckon you're going to do? A professional skydiver. You want to jump out of a plane, plummet towards the planet, and get paid for it. Maybe I didn't make myself clear. I said any job in the entire world. This guy's rooting all the time and getting paid for it. You want to go...
Traditionally, people would say that an interpreter should be black box, which held the meaning that an interpreter should have no presence in the room whatsoever, that people should ignore their presence, that they are simply there to facilitate the communication, which is still true today. If you're interpreting in a professional environment, say I was interpreting in a meeting between two professionals or in a hospital, then the interpreter needs to be impartial. They need to not interact with either of the clients outside of the interpreter's role. There's a lot of, as a qualified interpreter, you have to follow a certain amount of ethics. There's rules around what you can and can't do.
Anyone do drugs last night? Yeah? A couple of people don't mind admitting it, yeah? So, sometimes I ask that question, no one ever responds to that in the audience. So if I ask who does drugs, no one says anything. I think they might be paranoid that I'm a cop. You know. That'd be an elaborate scheme by the police, wouldn't it? Yes, Sarge, you're on stand-up comedy duty tonight. I'm playing the Woodford Folk Festival. Go and ask who does drugs and we'll bust him.
Very important part of the interpreter's role is to be impartial, and I'm not sure if you noticed the other night on stage, often if a performer has never worked with an interpreter before, they might approach you and start asking you questions and try and interact with you.
Up, down, left, right, you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, you, me, you. I gotcha.
The interpreter can't actually step out of their role and start participating in the show because that's not our job, and we're not there to do that. So, and I think that actually added to an element of humour in the comedy because what the comedian would turn to me and be like, "Oh, how do you sign this?" And I'd just keep interpreting. So I'd be like, "Oh, how do you sign whatever?" Or Jesus. One of the comedians was saying, "How do you sign Jesus?" So I'd just be like, "How do you sign Jesus?"
You know the Jesus hangover, where it's 3 days before you rise from the bed? It's not one of those, but it's a full-body hangover. I tell you, I feel like I used to feel when I ate McDonald's. You know when you eat McDonald's, you feel like a shit straight away afterwards, don't you? You know why that is? It's because that stuff is so highly processed. As you swallow each mouthful, the organs in your body go, nothing for me, nothing for me, nothing for me, down it comes. That's why it's called fast food.
It's one of those jobs that it's quite taxing on your brain power. You get really tired really quickly, and if you go for too long, then you get tired and you start missing intent and the subtle things that make an interpreting job really successful.
I've just got a couple of minutes left, and I thought I'd take that couple of minutes just to talk about the strength of this culture, which is the people's culture going on here. You have the opportunity, for example, to sponsor a tree. $5, another tree goes in the ground. Did you see the final tally? 6,684 trees, I think it was. 6,684 trees. That is fantastic. And we need to get those trees into the ground as quick as we can, as an example of what can be done by people just caring and wanting and being able to give just a little bit back. Because $5 for a tree, which is going to sink some carbon, is a fantastic deal. Why can't the politicians understand that? We leave these people in charge of these things, and it's stupid and dangerous. Because you end up with politicians in stupid government departments, bureaucratic people, putting ads on the telly like this. Hi, I'm Dick Loggerhead from State Forests of Australia, and I got a deal for you. I'm now in first, we're going to clear the lot. We've got sawlogs, pawlogs and bulllogs. What about fence space? What about pit roads? What about wood chips? They're good for everything the Japanese can think of. That's right, our forests are their forests. How much would you expect to pay? Well, don't answer, because there's more. What about threatened species? Buy one for the kids, but you'd better hurry. Now, how much would you expect to pay? Don't answer. In fact, keep your mouth tightly shut, because we won't stop. Clear the lot. Habitat slash biodiversity sacrifice. Air and water quality. Out they go. Don't send any money. We're already taxing you. So for a deal in forest products that you can't shake a stick at, come and see me. Take a Loggerhead from State Forests of Australia. I'm just up the last gum tree with a bloody big chainsaw, and let me cut it down for you. How'd you go?
I actually kind of like doing stage interpreting or concert interpreting, because it's almost like you can be that person expressing, but the message isn't yours. You don't own it.
Wanking. 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 And then I touched myself. And then I touched myself. Touched myself. I was wanking and touching myself. And then I had to take a shit. You cry? Did you just cry when you took a shit? Is that... All right, this is great. And you've got a fan over there. How come I don't have a fan? Did you just give me the double bird? Orgasm. What? Orgasm. Now listen, I'm sorry, but at the end of the night, my girlfriend is not going to put up with it. She's going to want something a little bit more.
Having more and more people subject to using an interpreter is positive for their own lives if they ever come across a deaf person in the workplace or whatnot. And in such a big venue like Woodford, where there's hundreds of thousands, 100,000 people who walk through the gates every year, that's great access for deaf people. Every festival should have accessibility for every person with a disability.
Your body is a temple. Well, my head is an atheist.
Often if a hearing person comes across a deaf person and they've never had any interaction with the deaf community before, they can often be overwhelmed by the amount of face expression in the person or the amount of gesture or body language that's being used, because in our hearing environments we don't use that much expression, especially in Australia. We're very, our body language is kept to a minimum, and we're not over the top with our face expression, whereas in the deaf community it's the same as our voice intonations, so it's expression that gets the message across.
And the sound of music, Julie Andrews sings a song called My Favourite Things. And she sings about raindrops on roses, and whiskers on kittens, and bright copper kettles, and warm woolen mittens, and brown paper packages tied up with strings. Now I'm here to tell you lovely people that those things are okay, but they're not exactly what I'd call my favourite bucket beans.
Often people think that Auslan is or any sign language is just a made-up language that people use to get by in order to communicate, but it's actually, in other countries, in New Zealand for example, it's recognised as an official language, and it has its own grammar structure and its own alphabet and its own, so everything in itself it's like another language. And often if you speak to people from the deaf community, they don't see themselves as a person with a disability, they see themselves as a person from a minority group who has their own culture and their own background and their own language.
You know what I like about Woodford the most, ladies and gentlemen? It's our culture, alive and well, mixing with all these other cultures and proving that Australia has a culture of its own.
Beer and some football, a good game of cricket, telling some dickhead just where they can stick it. Having a bonk on a bed with good springs. These are a few of my favourite things. Putting my feet up in front of the telly, eating a meat pie with a beer in my belly.
And Auslan is a beautiful language, and it has every possibility to be so hilariously funny or very serious or beautiful or expressive or poetic or whatever.
Thank you, Jasmine. Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Mark McConville. On behalf of all of the comedians that have walked on this stage over the last week, thank you so much for your support of the Woodford Comedy Club. We absolutely love coming here every year. Safe travels for 2010, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you all next year. Thank you very much for coming. Take care. See you later.